Gotta admit, I'm kind of freaking out here.
That's because I'm about to do something I've never done before.
This is weird.
Putting my own life on the line and countless other drivers in peril by driving on the wrong side of the road. I mean the left side of the road. I mean, you know what I mean.
Are you like me, and are you kind of scared to death of what it's like to drive in a foreign country like the United Kingdom where they drive on the left side of the road?
It's something I've been dreading since we started planning this vacation to England, and the dread continued to creep in as I practiced in this parking lot.
All right, I'm not even brave enough to get out on the road. I'm gonna have my wife take over. This is nuts.
Will I make an ass of myself?
It runs completely counter to everything we ever learned about driving. You sit on the right side of the car, you drive on the left side of the road. It's completely cattywampus.
Why do they drive like this? Do you know it's a practice that dates back to the Middle Ages?
What exactly are the rules for driving in this place? What should you do? What shouldn't you do? What do you have to know before you get behind the wheel in the United Kingdom? We're going to let you know in this episode of Window Seat. Okay, so hey everybody, it's Jeremy. I have turned over the controls to Tanya because I just am not very keen on this whole driving on the left side of the road thing. I can't make it work in my head. I actually toiled over this for months before we came to the UK. Tanya relented and said that she would happily, mercifully drive while we're over here, and so that's the way it's gonna be. This is such a foreign concept when you learn to drive your whole life going the other way and you have to kind of flip it. So we're gonna count down the 5 most important things that you need to know if you're going to drive in the United Kingdom. And so let's count those down, starting with the first thing you have to do, and that is adjust to the uniqueness of looking to the left when you're pulling into traffic. It's sort of mind-boggling, and it goes against everything you've ever learned.
But they've been doing it for centuries, so certainly you can adapt. The practice dates back to medieval times, during the Middle Ages. Most people back then traveled on horseback or on foot, and since the majority were right-handed, they preferred to stay to the left to keep their sword arm free in case of an attack. And archaeological excavations have revealed Roman roads in Britain were structured for left-side travel too, so it's gone on forever here. You have to adapt. Again, the biggest thing, when you get to an intersection, train yourself to look left instead of just looking right. In large part, it's because of pedestrians. Many crossings are placed just after junctions or intersections, meaning people might be stepping into the road from the left side. And if you're not used to this, it could be calamitous.
So obviously it's just sort of unnatural, but you'll have to get used to it pretty quickly. And I think you do get used to it pretty quickly. Tanya's had no problem whatsoever when we've been driving here for the past couple of days. Let's talk about the second thing you really need to know if you're driving here in the UK, especially on a freeway, and that is drive on the left side unless you're going to overtake a car. So drive on the left, pass on the right, and stay the heck out of those fast lanes.
You got to do this for the same reason you do the opposite in the US or most anywhere else in the world where you might live. The fast lane is for passing and for more efficient travel. It just so happens the fast lane is on the right in the UK, not on the left. So think of the rules at home and just reverse them. Not only that, it's also the law in the UK. The law says motorways must keep right lanes clear unless overtaking. Lane hogging can result in fines or penalty points under careless driving laws. When you think about it, this one's really not that hard.
So there you go, courtesy. It's the same sort of thing that you should be doing in the US, just reversed. You know, stay in the slow lane, pass in the fast lane. It's that simple. All right, my number 3 tip for driving in the United Kingdom is use Waze, or another app that's going to give you real-time information on where to go and where to turn and how to drive and all that stuff, because it warns you about speed cameras, and they are all over the place in this country.
So yeah, this one really doesn't have much to do with driving on the left side of the road. It just has a lot to do with time savings. Waze is amazing anywhere around the world because it can get you around bottlenecks and traffic backups, and that's crucial in the UK, especially around London, a city of about 9 million people where backups are commonplace, and you could be stuck in traffic for hours if you're not paying attention.
So highly recommend Waze. I hadn't used Waze for like 2 years before we came on this trip, and now I've been using it nonstop since we started, just because it's so crucial, so usable, so necessary here in the United Kingdom. Really helps you as you're driving. All right, so let's get to the next rule, and that is a common sense one. Don't use your phone while you're driving here because they are hardcore about it. In the US, you can kind of get away with it. I know some states are enacting new rules that make it illegal and everything, but it feels like people are still doing it all the time. Here, don't do it at all because you're going to get in trouble.
Here's how serious they are about this. If you're caught using your phone, you could get a 200-pound fine and 6 penalty points on your driver's license if caught using a handheld phone while driving. If you passed your driving test within the last 2 years, getting 6 points means your license will be revoked and you'll have to retake both the theory and practice driving test. It's a big headache. There are harsher penalties for more serious cases, too. If using a phone while driving leads to dangerous driving, you could face a driving ban, an unlimited fine, and up to 2 years in prison. This applies to anyone holding and using a phone while driving, and that includes making calls, texting, taking photos or videos, using social media, checking notifications. It also applies if you've just stopped at the traffic light or you're stuck in traffic. You cannot hold your phone. Now, if you have a Bluetooth headset or voice control, you're good to go. Just whatever you do, don't get caught driving and holding that phone.
So there you have it. Do not use your phone. I'm in the passenger seat, so it's okay that I use mine. Tanya's diligently not using her phone as she drives right here. Okay, next thing you need to know if you're driving in the United Kingdom is very simple. Stay out of the bus lanes. This was a warning that we received from the guy at the rental car counter when we picked up the car. He said, stay out of the bus lanes because you're going to get a ticket if you drive in them.
If you're caught driving in a bus lane in the UK when you're not permitted to do so, you could get a fine of 60 to 160 pounds depending on where it happens. And if you fail to pay within the given time frame, that fine can go up. It's easy to get caught too because CCTV cameras are used to monitor bus lanes and fines are issued based on that camera footage. In some areas, traffic wardens or enforcement officers can issue fines too. So be sure to save yourself a headache. Just stay out of those bus lanes.
So plain and simple, especially in and around London, stay out of those bus lanes. They're trying to keep traffic moving in London. Buses are crucial. They're all over the place in London, and they genuinely do not like it if you're jamming things up in their lane. Bottom line, if you obey these rules, you're going to avoid getting a big ticket from your rental car company because you may have been on vacation before and all of a sudden, like 3 weeks later in the mail, you get a bill for some red light that you ran or some infraction that you incurred, and then you got to pay that bill plus a surcharge from the rental car company. So if you follow these rules, you should be able to avoid all of that, and you should be able to have a calm, controlled, nice time behind the wheel, even though this is completely contrary to everything you've ever done behind the wheel before.
All right, we did it. We drove in the UK on the wrong side of the road. And when I say we, I mean my wife did.
I enjoy it because I think they're quite courteous and they're very organized in their rules. I would say that if you are deferential, you will get along just fine, except for in the smaller villages and cities when people are parked in the street and you have to play the wildest game of chicken just to get down the street if someone's coming. So that's when you want to hit the gas.
Okay, so there you have it. That's all you need to know about driving on the left side of the road, on the right side of the car. I'm still very confused by all of it, but if you're coming to a country like the United Kingdom where they drive in complete reverse of the rest of the world, these are the things you need to know. Hopefully this answered some of your questions and helped you out if you're planning a trip over here. Let us know what we left out in the comments below. We'd love to sort of add to the conversation. We'd also love it if you liked and shared the video so that others can get a sense of what it's like to drive in a foreign country like this. And more than anything, we'd love it if you hit subscribe so that we can share our travels all around the world. I should tell you that right now I'm just doing circles in a parking lot, so nobody's in any harm's way while I'm driving at the moment. But anyway, hit subscribe so we can share our journeys around the world. We're back with a brand new episode of Window Seat next Friday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, check out one of these other videos from Window Seat. Cheers.